All right, everybody, today I'm going to be going over a couple of combinations using turning kicks. We're going to be looking at the turning hook kick, the turning side kick, and the turning outside crescent kick. So for anybody who hasn't done any of these before, the idea here is you're going to be doing sort of a spinning turning motion and then launching out whichever kick you're looking to do. The hook, the outside crescent, and the side kick all have slightly different setups and a slightly different motion to do with your upper body and your hips. So we're going to go over that first before we go into any combination. So the first setup that I'd like to do with everybody is going to be a step across motion, not stepping forward. This just kind of gets your body used to turning and spotting your target. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our legs sort of parallel with each other. They have to try to be even as possible, right? My goal is to keep my hands up. My first step is going to be taking across with my left leg so that I can turn my hips and my back all the way around. From there, the next movement is I have to make sure that I look and I turn my shoulders. Once I turn my shoulders, I'm going to be lifting my right leg and throwing the right leg over with the hook kick and then trying to land in that parallel position again. If I do it just a little bit faster, it looks something like this. I step, I spot, throw my kick, and I land. One more time. I step, I spot, throw my kick, and then I land. Now once you get used to the step and the turn, the next goal is to try to do it a little bit quicker. So as I step across, I'm not going to let my heels sink into the ground. Very, very quickly, I'm going to step, ha, land. One more time. I step, ha! And next we'll be using that cross step to throw a turning side kick, or as other people call it, a turning back kick. It's the same thing, just people have different definitions, different names of it, right? So instead of stepping completely across now like I did before here, with my legs about shoulder width apart when I turn, my goal right now is to step across but land a little more narrow. So my first step is going to go across, but look, I'm going to have my feet a lot closer together from the back here, right? Now my goal is to spot my target. I'm going to drop my heel, and as soon as my heel drops, my side kick is going to come out. So one more time, I'm going to step across. It's going to be a little bit tighter. Now my goal is to go straight towards you guys, straight towards the camera. Boom, and I land. And one more time. I step, look, legs are just a little more narrow. My hips are pointing to the back towards you guys. I spot my target, throw my side kick, and I land. The goal here is I cannot let my hips open up. Once I step, my hips stop here. In a turning hook kick, my hips will stop around here. I don't want that to happen. I want my hips to stay right in this position over here so that my kick is a thrusting kick, going straight in and pulling straight back out. What I don't want is to throw my kick and then land opened up like this. I want my whole focus to be going towards you guys. So 1, 2, and I set. One more time from standard position here. 1, I look, 2, and I set. We're going to look at that same side kick from a different angle so that you see how my leg is going to chamber up. Once again, I step, I spot my target. When I bring my leg up from here, it's bringing it up in the side kick position here. This way, from this angle, I shoot my kick, and I land down. Now for the last kick that we're going to work on for the turning kick section is going to be the turning outside crescent kick. When I do a turning outside crescent kick, now I want my body to try to spin a lot more. I want my hips to open up. I want my chest to open up. So my first step is going to be just like we did before. I'm going to step all the way across. It's okay if I go a little bit wider. Now I'm going to start turning my body as much as possible because I want my chest, I want my hips to turn all the way towards where my target is, which is right where you guys are right now. And then I open up an outside crescent kick. If I do this a little more smoothly, you're going to notice that my chest is kind of facing you more than anything else. Big important thing to keep in mind anytime you're throwing any side of turning kicks is that if your bottom leg pivots a certain way, that's also going to affect your kicking leg. If I step across here and my leg is pivoted with my supporting heel facing you guys, my foot is going to stay sideways as I throw my hook kick. If I step and as I start turning, both of my toes start turning towards the target, my hips are going to open up. And as my hips open up, my toes are going to face up, and my foot's going to travel more sideways, which is the goal here, right? I want to step across, look, start turning, and make sure that I'm in a nice, strong position once I land the kick. So now the last part for these kicks is going to be what you can use as a replacement for that step. Now, obviously, if you're in a sort of sparring situation, fighting situation, you're not just going to step across and throw a kick. One kick that I like to throw that leads into all of these turning kicks really, really well is an inside crescent kick. So I can take my inside crescent kick, even from a fighting position, throw my inside crescent kick all the way across, land with my hips turned, then it's my choice. I can throw a hook, I can throw a side kick, I can turn over and throw the outside crescent kick. So, from a fighting position with my left leg in the back, I'm going to throw the inside crescent kick, turning hook first. So, inside crescent, land, turning hook, set. I can throw an inside crescent kick, land, side kick, set. Or I can throw from a fighting stance an inside crescent kick, land, turning outside, and set. However you finish the kick right now is really not important. You want to get the momentum for the kick so that you can throw the kick really, really smoothly. Now we can also substitute every single one of those kicks for a lead leg to start. So let's say you're a righty, you like kicking your turning kicks with your right leg. You can start with your left leg in the front. You can start off always nice and easy with a lead leg snapping roundhouse kick. Once you land, pop, I land. Now I can choose once again, hook kick, side kick, or outside crescent kick. But the idea is, as soon as I throw my lead leg kick, I have to land in the position getting ready for the turn. So if I roundhouse kick, pop, I land here. If I throw the roundhouse kick from the back, it's the same thing. Roundhouse kick, boom, I land here. But what I don't want to do is I don't want my roundhouse kick to go in one direction and then my spinning kick to go in a different direction. If all of my kicks are going to go here, I want my first roundhouse kick there, so that I can land, I can spot. If one of my legs can reach it and I land with my legs parallel with each other, right next to each other, whether the hook kick, the side kick, or the outside crescent kick, they're all going to work out the same for you. Now let's keep in mind, anytime you're throwing any sort of spinning kick, the legs have to pivot into position first. But once that happens, my reaction should be head turning first, shoulders turning second. The more my shoulders turn, the more it's going to put tension on my hip, so that when I open up my kick, my hip will help the technique follow all the way through. Really, really important to keep that in mind. You're always going to spin from the top down. So if I step, I look, my shoulders, my hips, I can throw my kick, land in a nice position there. And one more thing really important to watch out for is that as you're stepping across, as you're setting up your spinning kicks, you're not letting one of your legs go too far ahead of the other leg. And here's the reason. Let's say, for instance, that this line right over here was my target area. This is where I have to extend my kick, right? If I start off in a fighting stance and I step too close here, when I go to throw my kick, I'm going to be jammed up. I'm going to hit the wall, right? I'm going to hit that spot where I can no longer hit. What I want to make sure that I do is I want to make sure that I step across so that as I throw my kick never gets jammed up, never falls too close. Because once you go too close, whether you're going to try to do the side kick, the hook kick, or the outside crescent kick, you're going to end up with your hips too close to the target, and that won't give you any time to extend your kick. You're going to get jammed up, and then you won't be able to throw the kick. So as you're stepping, always remember, never step so far forward this way. That means that when I throw my kick, look how far I'm going to be off of my target. I don't want that to happen. So make sure that as you're stepping across, you're trying to land your legs as close to each other as possible, parallel. Not touching like this, not fully together. But I can't have one in the front, one in the back so much. Now, finally, I want to tell everybody that you can eventually start throwing spinning hook kicks, spinning side kicks, or spinning outside crescent kicks with any kicks set up before, as long as you're comfortable with the basic kicks themselves. It's going to be really difficult to throw any of these kicks, especially hook kicks and side kicks, if you don't already have a proper hook kick and a proper side kick. So I suggest hitting the wall, doing some slow kicking exercises to help you get comfortable with the extension of the kick itself. And then you can start trying to put together combinations. Once you're comfortable with it, sky's the limit. There are 9 basic kicks in all of Tae Kwon Do. 9. With those 9 kicks, you can make endless amounts of combinations as long as you're creative enough. Keep in mind, anything you do on one side, you want to try to be able to do on the other side. So I suggest working on both sides. Everybody has a better side. You should not have a better side. You should just have two sides. No better side, no lefty, no righty. One of the things that made me really popular during competition years was that I can kick pretty much consistently with my left leg and my right leg equally. So it didn't really make a difference whether I had my left leg or my right leg in the front. Any kick I can throw to one side, I can throw to the other. Keep that in mind as you're training, and hopefully you'll be able to put together some really nice combinations and start improving on your spinning or turning kicks. Now guys, here's the drill that I do all the time for side kicks. 6-step side kick. My body's gonna start up against the wall over here. I'm gonna keep my legs parallel with each other. My goal is to make sure that if I put my hand out, my hands from shoulder to shoulder is in a straight line. Now my lead hand comes up, nice and tight, never in front of the body here, always behind the hip. My first motion is I bring my knee up, that's chamber number 1. Chamber number 2, I'm gonna turn my bottom leg. As I do that, my hips are gonna turn and the bottom of my leg is gonna face where my target is. Number 3 is the extension of the kick. Number 4 is the pull back. Number 5 is pivoting back to standard position. And the last part is touching down. So once again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now that same drill, but to help with your hook kicks. I'm gonna start again, hand against the wall, lead hand is up, again, not in front of my chest or my belly here, always right behind my hip line. Now for this, I wanna start pivoting. So I'm gonna turn both my feet towards the wall, but I'm gonna make sure I have a little bit of space, shoulder width apart, my head is gonna be up. My goal right now, guys, is not to make a big circle fast. It's to make almost like a U shape. I come up, 1, I go across 2, I come back down to the same position I started. 1, 2, down. 1, 2, down. The important thing here to remember, guys, is that a hook kick cannot go up and then down. It cannot peak. It cannot be like a circle. It has to go straight across. When it goes straight across, it impacts the target in a straight line, which makes the kick a lot more effective, a lot stronger. So bear that in mind. You don't want to do a circle with your leg. That's for outside crescent kicks. You want to try to make sure you come up, straight across, and then back down. Now, a lot of people have problems opening the hook kick up. So one thing you guys can do that's really simple, and you don't even need a target or anything to do this, is you bring up your leg nice and tight, almost as if you're going to throw a roundhouse kick. But now I'm going to hold on to my knee here, and my goal is to pull my knee look all the way past my hip line as much as possible, and then back in. I open my hip all the way up, and I come back in. I open the hip all the way up, and I come back in. I don't want my knee to stop here. I want my knee to go way past that, because that gives my hook kick all of its momentum and all of its power.